Hello, Jimmy here. I'm making another OSW video, and this one is for Raceroom racing experience. And a couple of people that wanted to see how it is with the OSW, and I can tell you right now, it's pretty fantastic. What I'm going to do is run through the settings of the force feedback I have, and then we're going to tinker a little bit with MMos, and I'm going to show you guys some differences I've noticed in force feedback with this game and other games, in particular compared to Iracing. There's some pros and cons to both, and you know, it might just be me and my personal preferences, but you know, there's good and bad to both. Like this one has really smooth force feedback, and I can actually turn down the filter in MMos, and it'll still feel smooth. That doesn't happen as much in Iracing. I have to run the filter around 12. Otherwise, you know, I start to feel some kind of like grinding, not grinding, but more like it's like almost feels like a belt is in there. And I'll explain a little bit more about that later, because I got some answers from Dennis Ramier, the guy who built the kit, and kind of fill you guys in on what possibly it could be and what some settings are that are going to help you feel nice and comfy with Raceroom racing using an OSW. So I'm actually in a challenge right now. It's at Mid-Ohio. I've actually driven this course in real life on a Mini Cooper, so not a whole lot of experience there, but a couple of years ago I did one and it was pretty fun. Right now we're going to go into force feedback. You probably can't see it too well, but I'm going to run through the settings anyways. There's no inverted force feedback. I don't need that. It's force feedback is turned on. The intensity, I have it set right now at 60. And that took me a while to kind of figure out what should be turned up. You know, the intensity versus the steering force intensity. I think this is overall strength, and this is more like these four, 1, 2, 3, 4. Steering force intensity, understeer, vertical load, and lateral force are the ones that affected the most. So I have the force feedback intensity set at 60, smoothing is at 0, force feedback springs at 30, and we're going to tinker with that a little bit here to see if it makes a difference. I don't remember if it does, to be honest. It's been a while. Force feedback dampers at 5%, due to mostly the fact that any damping I want on the wheel can be done through MMos, and 0% for force feedback friction. So the steering force settings, this is what took me the longest. Like on the T500, I used to run like up and above 100. This will go up to like 250 on some of these, especially with vertical load and lateral force. Understeer, I have it set at 75%, because you set it any higher than that, it just starts to go completely numb when you lose traction. This might even be a little bit high. Steering force intensity, 85%. I really don't change that much. Vertical load, I don't change that much either. But lateral force is the one I tend to change depending on the car. So that's how much, you know, strength you're fighting up against when you're cornering. If you like it to feel a bit more dynamic from bumps, I would actually recommend turning lateral force down. Engine vibrations, that's optional. I keep it at 19%. Feel like, you know, I tried it at 100, I tried it at 10, 50, and I found a nice, comfortable number. And you can feel a little bit in the wheel, and that's pretty cool. Brake vibrations, I'm at 10%. And curb vibrations, you can set it as high as you want, but I think it starts to feel unrealistic around 10%. And I have it set at 6% right now. You'll feel even more curb vibrations if you turn down the filter on MMos. And the shift effect, I have it at 32%. And I don't know, it's kind of fun when you shift and it gets a little bit of a wiggle. So let's get into it, and I'll do a lap or two, and then we're going to go into MMos and try another lap or two with the filter set low, and I'm going to describe to you what it feels, you know, what the differences are, if I can. All right. Gives you about 2 seconds. Oh, I forgot to mention the calibration for this steering wheel versus this is it's a little bit different. So if it looks a little bit cocked to the left, no need to comment. I'm aware of that. I just don't care at the moment. But yeah, when I swap out these wheels with a Holger quick release, this will be centered. This will be slightly turned, slightly off. It might just be the fact that this is a cheap knockoff of a Mo. Oh well. For now, I'm just dealing with it. It's really not a huge amount of difference in terms of like the center. So let me get back into resume here. Try to put my glove on. My girlfriend's calling. We'll resume in a second. Okay, sorry about that. I'm just going to continue anyways, because I don't really have a whole lot of time today to start filming again. So, screw it. Still one problem with driving with gloves and having a touchpad. I think I want to get a mouse. One thing I really like about Raceroom Racing's force feedback is how easily you can catch slides. Not even with just OSW, but with the T500 I was able to really well. And I'm sure on a lot of other wheels you can. They just did a fantastic job with it. I'm not sure how realistic it really is, but for a game like this, I'd call it maybe a simcade, as Darren likes to point out on Inside Sim Racing. It does a good job of at least communicating what the car is doing, and it's really, really fun. I don't think you could ever do this in real life and partially drift through a corner like that. But the fact that you can in this game and it feels so good in the wheel just makes this completely awesome. I mean, I can't do that in Iracing. At least not consistently. This corner kills me every time. So it feels super smooth, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about what I was getting at with Iracing's force feedback compared to this one. Iracing's force feedback is a hell of a lot more dynamic, even in the way I have this configured. There's so much more real feel to it. This one is really fun though. It feels like a perfect balance between an arcade like sim that you'd feel, back in the day when we were impressed by like Daytona USA. I say that because you can feel the engine, humming inside of this thing. It's not even my butt kickers; it's the servo doing that. And because it's just it's butter smooth. Now with Iracing, if I have the filter turned down below 12, I actually feel steps. And when I asked Dennis about this, I said, is there something I can do in MMos or the Granity device settings that would get rid of this? Or is there something in Iracing's app.ini file that I could change? And he said it's likely because either the physics or the force feedback updates at 60 hertz. And he said other games don't necessarily do that anymore. They update higher. That's the only speculation I have, and I don't even know if it's accurate, but I can feel a huge difference. So right now, I feel no kind of steps at all. So what we're going to do is going to pause it, and if I turn it below 12, which I believe it's on 12 right now, and feel steps, I'm going to let you know. But I did that same thing with the Assetto Corsa, and I didn't feel any steps. So it was still super smooth. So we could even go as low. Let's go with like 4. Because I'm actually curious to see how raw this steering can feel. Like I said, I haven't tinkered too much with MMos while playing this game. I just kind of left it as is. But when I did that with Assetto Corsa, it really didn't make a difference. It still felt super smooth. The wheel just felt a little bit more exciting, you know, a little bit more sharp. But I did not feel the steps. In iRacing, anything below 12, you're gonna feel those steps. It feels like every time you change direction, it's kind of like this, like as though there's this motor. I mean, obviously there is a motor, but it's not supposed to feel like that. You know, you don't spend the money you spend on an OSW to feel that kind of stuff. We want it to be smooth, or at least raw, but smooth. So let's give it another shot. Yeah, still butter smooth. So as far as realism, you know, if I had to rate it 1 to 10, as far as force feedback, I'd give it a solid 8. And why I say that is because the effects that it does makes it feel real. It makes it feel real enough to really have fun and feel immersed. And that's kind of why I do sim racing. I want to be immersed. I have an Oculus Rift. I jump in that about half the time when I'm playing iRacing. And I'm all about immersion. I like butt kickers and a really good, you know, wheel. And this game delivers that so well. The only things I'd say that I don't like about it is the fact that every once in a while the game will think my car is damaged, and I don't think it should be damaged. It could be like if you just go over some grass, but the wheel will start kinking itself to the left or to the right permanently, and until you restart, it won't change. Also, I'm going to show you something. When you park, the wheel will continue to move, as though you're on some rocking ship. Even in the pits, on some races I've done, it just kind of goes like this. It did that with my T500. I don't get it. It must be something in their, you know, in their settings. Or the only thing I could think of it might be is the shift effect, or maybe the road is coded in some way to send messages, and I'm right in between, you know, 2 bumps in the road that want to just tell the wheel to do this. I'm not sure. But whatever they did to program it, when you're at speed and you're actually driving, it feels awesome. And you really can't drift around as well in iRacing and have this much fun with the direct drive wheel if you're just out to have some crazy laps. So let's do another super fast lap. Hopefully I don't crash. I mean, what would a proper review of a game be or a car be without, you know, the presenter needlessly drifting, you know, the car in any direction he goes, just like Top Gear. It's bumpy. All right, I think that's enough.